Have you ever felt stuck, full of amazing ideas but no clue where to begin? Maybe you've got a big dream, a project that seems too overwhelming, and doubt keeps holding you back. I get it, that feeling like you're not ready, like something's missing. But here's the secret. You don't need to have it all figured out to start. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take that first step, even when you don't know all the answers, and finally break free from the paralysis. You know, there's this saying people throw around a lot: if something's really worth it, it's going to be tough. And honestly, it's true. Think about it. Anything new you try, especially if it's important or valuable, is probably going to be hard at first. You're going to mess up, feel awkward, maybe even look a little foolish, but that's totally fine. In fact, being bad at something in the beginning is completely normal. It's actually where everyone starts. I mean, you wouldn't expect to be amazing at something you've never done before, right? This reminds me of something I heard when I was a kid. You've got to try things, even if you're bad at first. It sounds so simple, but honestly, the more you think about it, the deeper it gets. Take me, for example. When I was little, I decided I wanted to play soccer. I was excited, full of energy, thinking it'd be fun and easy. But oh man, I was bad, like really bad. I was easily the worst player on the team. Every time I tried to dribble or shoot, it was a disaster. The other kids, they didn't hold back. They'd say things like, "Why are you even here?" or "You're terrible at this." And yeah, it sucked. I wanted to quit so badly. No one likes being the worst at something. But here's the thing, I didn't quit. I kept showing up, I kept playing, even though I wasn't good yet. And that's the key right there. Yet. I wasn't good yet. But I knew that if I kept going, I'd improve. Slowly but surely, I started getting better. It wasn't overnight, and it wasn't easy. But every time I stepped onto that field, I was a little less terrible than the day before. The same thing happens in life, no matter what you're trying to do. Whether it's learning a new skill, starting a new job, creating content, or even trying to improve yourself personally. At first, you're going to struggle. You might feel like everyone around you is so much better, like they've got it all figured out, and you're just not there yet. But guess what? That's okay. You show up, you make mistakes, and you keep going. And little by little you get better. I think back to those soccer days, and it's a perfect metaphor for how life works. You're not born great at something. You become great by sticking with it, by showing up even when it's hard, even when people doubt you, and even when you doubt yourself. And eventually you'll realize you're doing things you never thought you could. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, but if it's worth it, if it matters to you, then the struggle is part of the journey. Just remember, being bad is the first step toward being good. And hey, if you're finding this helpful so far, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. It really helps us reach more people who might need this message. And if you're enjoying the content and want to support the channel, consider becoming a member. It's a great way to help us keep creating and bringing more value to you guys. Now, this is where Buddhism and neuroscience come in. In Buddhism, there's this idea called beginner's mind, the mindset that being new and not knowing everything is actually powerful because you're open to learning. And in neuroscience, well, your brain literally rewires itself as you practice something. It's called neuroplasticity. The more you do, the more your brain adapts and makes you better at it. Cool, right? Your brain is literally working with you, even when it feels hard. And here's the kicker: if I wasn't brave enough to be terrible at soccer, I never would have improved. If you don't start, you don't get anywhere. And yeah, fear stops us a lot, right? We're scared of making the wrong choice, messing up, or what others will think. But guess what? Sitting there, not choosing, not trying. That's the worst thing you can do. A lot of people, for example, don't go to the gym because they think, "I don't look like those people," or "I don't know what to do." But hey, it's totally fine to be the beginner who doesn't know stuff. No one was born knowing how to lift weights or run a mile. You've got to start somewhere. And in Buddhism, there's this idea of non-judgment, not just for others, but for yourself too. You need to let go of worrying how you look or how you're starting out. Before we dive in, I just want to quickly mention, if you're feeling ready to take that first step but not sure where to start, I've dropped a list of 4 incredible books in the description that have personally helped me on my own journey of growth and self-development. They're full of insights that will guide you through the process of getting unstuck and moving forward, so make sure to check them out after the video. Now, let's get real. You can't compare your day 1 to someone else's day 1000. We all do it, don't we? Oh, they're so good, and I'm just starting. But think about it. They've been at it for years. You're just beginning. And even if you try and mess up, that's great, because you tried. Most people don't even get that far. In life, there's this pressure, right? Like we need to be constantly winning, making an impact, changing the world. But the truth is, you've got to appreciate where you're at now. If you're always chasing more, you're never going to see the value in what you've got right here, right now. Buddhism teaches that, living in the present moment. Maybe today you're not where you want to be, but where you are is good enough for your next step. So yeah, take that first step. Be okay with not being perfect, and just trust that every small move is getting you closer. That's how both your brain and life work. It's all about the journey. Why am I even making this video? Because I see so many people out there, people who are incredibly talented, super creative, and just plain smart, not living up to their full potential. Why? Because they think they can't do it. They look at others and think, someone else is better, so what's the point in trying? And you know what? Meanwhile, there are people who are far less talented, who don't know as much, but they're thriving. Why? Because they started. They just said, all right, I'm going to begin, and that's all it took. Here's the truth. Nobody starts off perfect. It's not a thing. The first time you try something, you're probably going to suck at it. And that's okay. But if you stop after that first attempt, you'll never get better. That's how progress happens. You keep moving forward little by little. You learn, you grow, and eventually you get better. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, I don't even know where to begin. Well, let me help you out with that. There's so much you can do. Start a YouTube channel or create some content on Instagram. Go back to college, finish that degree, or start investing. Quit blowing money on pointless stuff. Submit your resume for that job you're eyeing. Ask that person out that you've been crushing on. Take your dog for a walk, or just go for a run in the park. Join a gym, read a book, cook yourself a meal. Plan that vacation you keep dreaming about. See the doctor you've been avoiding. Check in with the dentist, or talk to a nutritionist. Do something kind, donate some clothes, help someone out. Make yourself a coffee, listen to your favorite song, create a new playlist, start a brand, visit a new place, go to the movies. Heck, make some money, start selling something, study for a test, or listen to a podcast. Go to bed earlier, wake up earlier. Whatever you do, just don't stand still. Don't let life pass you by. And here's something else to keep in mind. It's fair that big rewards require big effort. If you want talent, it's hiding in the struggle you're avoiding. If you want good health, it's in the healthy food you keep swapping for junk. If you're craving inner peace, it's waiting in the organization you haven't started. That super productive day, it's just after that alarm you keep snoozing. So if you want something, pay the price. Trust me, it's worth it. Funny story. I actually stopped everything I was doing to grab my notebook and write this down. And you know what? It's kind of wild to think about all the brilliant people out there who never got discovered because they never took that first step. If I asked you who the smartest person in history was, you'd probably say Albert Einstein, right? But here's the kicker. There's probably been someone even smarter than Einstein, but they never put themselves out there. They never started. Einstein himself said it best. Imagination is more important than knowledge. And he was right. It's not about knowing every step. It's about being brave enough to imagine what's possible and then making it happen. Let me be real for a sec. Planning to do something isn't the same as doing it. Preparing to do something, still not doing it. Telling people you're gonna do it? Nope, not the same either. Even feeling guilty about not doing it? That's not action. The only thing that counts as doing is, well, doing. period. Look, everyone's into running these days, right? People are out there doing 10K runs, half marathons and all that. And maybe you're like, I can't do that. I've never run before. But here's the thing, if you've never run before and you manage to do, I don't know, 3K or 4K, even if you walk some of it, that's a win. You're better than you were yesterday, you're making progress, and that's what counts. You know, when I was a kid, I hated playing futsal. I felt embarrassed because people talked about me. I'd mess up, and I could hear them whispering or making comments, and that made me not want to go at all. What I didn't realize back then was that this embarrassment, this fear, was creating a mental block. It was like my brain was trying to protect me from feeling bad about myself, from looking bad in front of others. But you know what? That block, it wasn't protecting me, it was stopping me from growing. And I see so many people with that same block, that same fear of failing. It's the thing that holds you back from starting a YouTube channel, from creating content, from studying for that test. It's the voice that says, what if I'm terrible? What if people judge me? But here's the thing, you'll never be good if you never try. You keep hitting this mental wall thinking, maybe this isn't for me. But guess what? It is for you. You just need to begin. Let me say that again because it's important. You just need to start. You don't have to be good at first. No one is. You just have to be brave enough to be bad at something new. And over time, you'll get better, not to compete with others, but to prove to yourself that you can. Because what was stopping you? Really, it was nothing. You just needed to start. Here's something I've learned. Either you change or everything stays the same. You can't try something new while doing the same old things you've always done. Trust in the tools you already have because you have more than you think. Make something grow with what you've got. And then life or God or the universe, however you see it, will give you more. But first, you've got to be faithful with what's in front of you. How can you expect to restart your life if you keep doing the same things? Even if you try and fail, you haven't lost anything. In fact, you've gained experience. You're one step closer, one lesson richer. That's a win. You know, I also had to redefine a lot of things in my life, especially those mental blocks. When I was a kid, yeah, I was bad at things. But if I kept holding on to that belief that I was bad at everything, I would have never grown. We all do this. We don't value what we already have. We're so focused on what we don't have that we forget to appreciate the little things. Just think about this. You woke up today, you put your feet on the ground, you walked, did your daily stuff. That's already a huge blessing. Don't take that for granted because right now there are people in hospital beds who would give anything to switch lives with you. They'd give anything to have just a fraction of what you have, but they can't. So ask yourself, what's the value of what you already have? What's the value of your little? The truth is, you already have everything you need to get started. You don't have to worry about tomorrow or the next day. Focus on today, on what you have right now and what you can do with it. Your life matters. And if no one has ever told you this, let me tell you, you are important. You make a difference. Yes, it's fair that things are hard, that it costs a lot to get where you want to be. Because growth hurts, it's uncomfortable, but that's what makes it worth it. So, love your life, have new experiences, be creative, be curious. Everyone's good at something, it just takes time to figure out what that is. The hardest part is starting, but once you do, you'll realize how much you've been holding back. So start, today. So there you have it. Starting is the hardest part, but it's also the most important. You don't need to have all the answers, you just need to take that first step. Remember, growth happens when you step outside your comfort zone. Thanks so much for sticking with me until the end. I really appreciate it. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on more content like this. Also, share this video with someone who could use a little push to get started. And hey, drop a comment below. I read and respond to every single one. I'd love to hear what you're working on or what you're trying to start. Let's keep the conversation going.